The Prentice Alsop Heating and Air Coaches Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
And this portion of the show brought to you by Parks Auction Company. Let their team of experienced and professionally trained staff utilize the auction process to sell your property. You can find out more at parksauction.com. And John Dinkins here along with Coach Will Kriesky of the Riverdale Warriors. Winners last night, 37-0. And I must say, Coach, the weather last night was so much superior than the week before.
Oh, it was yes, it was a lot better. Didn't have to take the raincoat. Probably one of the first weeks in a long time I didn't have to take the raincoat with me. But I think I packed it anyway because unfortunately I didn't take it with me to beach, and we needed it that night when we played beach. But yeah, it was a nice weather. The field at Cane Ridge, I guess I've been spoiled. It was the first grass field we played on all year. So I've been having to do a little extra work in the laundry room, getting them white jerseys clean.
Yeah, boy, I tell you, you get spoiled, don't you?
Yes, yes, we do.
That turf, and I don't know if speaking of turf, I don't know whether last week's games would have been horrible. I mean, in grass, because as much rain had come on, and then the mist coming. It would have been pretty sloppy too, I would think.
Yeah, Laverne actually played at Cane Ridge last week in that mess, and their field was pretty tore up. And Cane Ridge they're going to get turf next year. They're in that process. They're rotating schools, and they're on the docket to get it next. And but they're like us. They had a soccer game this week. They had some middle school games. They had a freshman game, things like that. So it's taking it's beating, and again, going into week 8. And it's hard to keep a field up, and you got to have a lot of money to make sure it's done properly.
Is high school, is every night of the week your field used, or is it close to that?
Yeah, during this fall, Monday nights we had a freshman or JV game. Tuesday nights, we got 2 middle schools, so if a middle school's not playing if our soccer's playing on Tuesday night, then either Buchanan or Christiana will play on Wednesday night. So Thursday and Friday, obviously Friday if we got a home game, but Thursday's probably about the only day of the week that it's not being used.
Wow, that's you can almost count on like 6 days a week. Do they do junior pro on Saturdays?
Yeah, they're junior pros out there on Saturdays. A lot of times with if the soccer wasn't using on Thursday, our band would be able to get out because we get done earlier on Thursday, and our band gets out there and and it's good for them. They get a place to practice. With a lot of construction going on, like their areas of practice hadn't been very, it's not good for them, and being able to have that turf and then being able to get on the turf and practice has been very useful for our band this year.
Not only you can put so many teams on it without doing any damage to your field, but I guess the little things like fixing the field and that kind of thing from coaches, it gives you all an opportunity to do other things, focus on other things other than manicuring the field.
Yeah, like this week, being on fall break, I don't have to have a coach up there working on it and taking care of it, making sure it's in, top notch. The guys, Coach Martin and Coach Pelchet, get to take a little break, and now they all they're worried about is mowing on a practice field.
Yeah.
So that's again, it saves a lot of time and money.
It's expensive, but it does save you money in the long run, I guess, doesn't it, really?
I guess I'll tell you that after we make our loan payment for this turf.
Yeah, you're in the early stages, yeah.
Yes.
I want to talk about this game last night against Cane Ridge. Now, they've kind of had to rebuild a little bit, and the field the way it was, 37-0. The defense just continues to shine, Coach, and it looks like the offense is starting to get a pace now. And if I'm wrong in asking that, but it seems like the offense is catching up a little bit with the defense and starting to put some consistent drives.
Yeah, they're doing well. Malachi Tellin threw for over 250 yards the other night, and he had a really good night. In the first 4 series that we had the ball, he took them down and scored. We had 28 points right off the bat. And he did a great job. Dante Cameron come in and got some really quality reps also the other night, and it was really good for him. And our receivers, Kadarion Fletcher had a great night catching the football. Cam Booker scored a touchdown. Our running back, we were down to Hudson Fuqua. Our other two, DJ and Caden Bailey, did not play. They were just nursing some minor injuries, and we just felt like we needed another week of rest, especially with playing on a short week. And so we rested those 2 guys, and they didn't take any snaps. And Hudson did a great job. Hudson ran for 2 touchdowns. Should have had a third, but fumbled us going in, and Xavier Watkins fell on it to make that touchdown. But I was really proud of the way our offensive line come back and battled. We really challenged the offensive line after the Coffee County game, and told them, we had to have a great week of preparation, and they accepted that challenge, and I was really proud how they played up front.
Well, Malachi was 15 of 20 for 248 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's pretty impressive. I don't care who you're playing, and to get that much yardage in the air is impressive, to go along with Hudson's 55 yards rushing, 16 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns, and then you had Fletcher with 5 receptions. So a pretty roundabout. And it may be unfair to me to ask that when I asked you that they were catching up, because let's go back and look at your schedule, and you were playing some really tough teams early. You have Smyrna that's got a good defense, and Beach, and there were a lot of Henry County. There were a lot of good teams that you had to face early, and with a new quarterback and all those kind of things, it probably was a little struggle at the beginning, but I think it's starting to come around.
It has been a little struggle. And, the offensive guys kind of leaned on the defense a little bit, and Coach Rail does a phenomenal job, with the defense, and his staff over there. They do a great job on the defensive side of the ball, and they've got those guys playing really hard. And Coach Barnes and his side has done a great job of keeping everybody calm and keeping everybody moving forward. Yeah, we've had some tough weeks offensively, but again, there was no panic. Like I've bragged on Coach Barnes every week and what they do, and he when you replace 9 of 11, you're going to have struggle.
Right.
9 of 11, and especially when you're rotating quarterbacks, the consistency and things like that. And like you said, I feel like the offense is starting to settle down, and we gave them a challenge early on, because we got to be battle tested when we finish this. This is the last push for the playoffs, and all 3 of these games determine playoffs, determine seeding. And then these next 3 games are huge. Obviously we focus 1 week at a time, but we have to be healthy these next 3 weeks, and we have to come out and play, and we have to be on top of our game. If not, it won't be a good final 3 weeks of the season.
It's so hard to believe that we're this far into the season. It just seems like it's flown by, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. And you made a good point about seeding. Let's see, you've got Blackman coming up on the 18th after fall break, and that's a big one.
Yeah, that's a real big one. If it's not already big enough for the communities and both the schools and the student bodies, and then you got a family situation involved in that too, and so it's going to be huge. Blackman's a really good football team. I got to spend some time with them last night, and we got a lot of respect for their programs, their coaching staff. I was with them in their field house before the game and talking to their coaches, and then watching them play last night. And they're Ethan Carson, he's playing some really good football for Blackman right now, and Marcus Cameron's playing, just getting that offensive going. I think Blackman is very similar to us. I think they got a really good defense, and they fly around on defense, and they'll strike you. And then offensively, I think they're getting better every week. And you talk about us having a tough schedule. I don't know if you looked at that Blackman schedule. All of their losses are from teams in the top 5, if not top 10, of 6A, and they're one score. They were 1 score away from beating each one of those teams.
Yeah, it's amazing the turnaround that they've had, and you look at their record. I think 3-3, 4-3, and you go, well, that's, but it's not like that. Their schedule is tough, and you talk about rivalries, and we always talk about Oakland, Riverdale, the Battle of the Borough. But, to those kids, I think sometimes that Blackman-Riverdale game may be just as big.
It is, and it's, the kids, it was already – as soon as we got done with Cane Ridge, that's all they were talking about. We got Blackman, we got to be focused, and we got to be ready to play. And the kids know that Blackman's a really much improved team from the last few years, and they're going to be ready to go. And they know that we have to come and play a mistake-free game. We can't get any dumb penalties. We have to be ready, and we have to prepare ourselves. We have to have a good week and a half of practice. We'll on fall break, and we'll give the kids a time off, and we'll bring them back in Thursday morning, and hopefully they're rested and get ready to go and start preparing for Blackman. And like you just said, it's huge for the playoffs, and both teams need it for a chance to try to get a home field advantage.
Will Kriesky, our guest here, you were talking about the fall break and coming back on Thursday. That gives them a little time, heal up, rest up a little bit, but then you still got over a week to get ready for a team, and I guess that's a good thing for scheduling. If you got Blackman coming up, and then you got, I think, Oakland later on. So these last three really matter.
Yeah, we got Blackman, Siegel, Oakland. So all three in county games, and all three games you have to be prepared. All three have great coaching staffs that work really hard and will have their kids ready to play, and we have to do a good job preparing ourselves. And like you said, these kids need a break. They've been dealing with me since early July. Some June, and they got a dead period break. But after the dead period, I've seen our kids almost 6 days a week since then. So they need some time away from the coaches. The coaches needed time away from each other. They need a break from me, and the fall break is coming. It's come for us, for the Riverdale football team, at a great time. We do have some bumps and bruises that do need to be healed. So as we come back from fall break and start practicing next week, we'll use that. We'll clean up stuff. Not really going to beat them up, as much as we have in the past. Make sure we get healthy, but just start mentally preparing for Blackman, and then start just correcting some of our fundamentals. Next week we can work on get back and do some fundamental things to correct. And get ready and get a lot of good reps next week. And I know the kids are excited and the school's excited. It's going to be a fun 3 weeks coming up.
I know next week, too, you get a chance to meet your wife again and then reintroduce yourself to her and your kids. Yeah. And you have to tell them who you are, remember. But I know your wife, and they support you. They come and they go to the game, so they're not totally away from you. I know they make it a big part of their life as well. No,
all of the coaches on staff and families are big supporters, and we all there. They support us 100%, and it's a blessing. Like we got to play on Thursday night, and my family, all they know is Friday night football. So we loaded up, and I called Matt or text him Friday morning and said, "Hey, put us on the pass list." And one of his coaches, Coach Crosby, a defense coordinator, said, "We're not putting anybody from Riverdale on our pass list." But
it's already started.
Yeah. So, but we got to go. My niece was in the homecoming situation, and I got to stand out there and video her, and my kids got to play with my nephew and niece during the game. And that's the Kriesky family. That's all we know is Friday night football. And even though it was Blackman and we had to support Blackman last night, it's a family event.
Yeah,
my sister-in-law, that's all we know. My dad was there, my mom was there, and I actually got to be a fan and enjoy it with my family last night, and I'd never get to do that.
Last quick question. What does your dad do? Where does he go? Where does he decide what he does on Friday night?
He plays the game. So he'll text me and tell me what Matt did wrong, and he'll text Matt and tell Matt what he did wrong. So he always tries to look like the good guy, but this next week he'll try to tell me what I need to do, and he'll text Matt, try to tell him what he needs to do, and then he'll stand away, and whoever wins, that's he'll text first, and then So
and who does he decide what game he's going to? I mean,
he rotates. Every other week he rotates. But luckily this week, we had a Thursday night and a Friday night game, so that was good. But whatever game's closer to his house, that's the one he goes to.
Sounds like me. That's for sure. Will, have a great fall break. Enjoy the weather. It's going to be a great week.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, that's Will Kriesky, head coach of the Riverdale Warriors. They play Blackman next on October 18th. That will be at Blackman. And this portion of the show is brought to you by J. Mullins Jewelry, a family-owned and operated business treating clients like family since 1938. Jewelry design, repair, and a wide selection of great jewelry pieces. Online at mullinsjewelry.com. When we come back, we'll be talking Smyrna football coming up next.